Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Stephanie Bree, and today we're talking about the fancy board games, I'm going to call it. We're talking about the board games primarily from the 80s. Some of these are from the 90s, where board game companies got creative and created more complex than just walk around a cardboard board and move your pieces. So we're talking about stuff like Hungry Hungry Hippo, Ants in the Pants, Break the Ice or Don't Break the Ice, whatever it is, Mousetrap, Connect Four, you know, um, the one with the faces, what's it called, the match game or whatever it's called. Guess Who, I think it is. The games that come with props, basically. Board games with props is what we're going to call it. Now, we were relatively poor, fairly poor as growing up as kids. Um, we started out extremely poor, and then eventually my parents got better jobs, and we climbed the social ladder a little bit. But we were always lower class. We never made it to the middle class in my family. Um, so my parents had to get creative when it came to Christmas presents. And one of the easiest ways to buy a Christmas present for each of the kids was to buy one big present for all of us to share. This was usually our board game. Um, Now, sometimes you'd get a traditional board game, Clue, Aggravation, Monopoly, whatever. But every once in a while, you'd get a fun, fancy board game. You'd get Hungry Hungry Hippo, or Don't Break the Ice, or Ants in the Pants. And, the problem with these games is they're fun. They take a little bit longer to set up than your traditional board game, except for like maybe Risk or sometimes Monopoly, depending on who who how stubborn the person is that gets stuck with being banker wants to be. Me and my sisters used to fight over who had to be bankers, so we came up with an ATM system where we were just self bankers. So there was no official banker in our games of Monopoly. I know that's risky because you have to assume that the other person is getting the correct change. But that's how we played because nobody wanted to fucking be banker. But anyways, so I'm gonna gloss over some of the more complex board games we had as a kid. I'm gonna start with Mousetrap. Mousetrap is a game I always wanted. I saw the commercials and I thought it looked fucking awesome and I always wanted it, but I never got it. But my friend, and I'm not gonna say his name here, one of my friends, I should say, did get Mousetrap one Christmas, and at a sleepover at his house, his parents were like, "Hey, have you ever played Mousetrap?" And I was like, "No." And I got all excited. I got to play a game of Mousetrap. And 3 hours later, we started playing the game because it takes that goddamn long to set the fucking thing up. Obviously, I'm exaggerating, but when you're 7 years old, it felt like 3 hours. And then we played the game. It felt like 5 minutes went by, and then the game was over, and it was like, that's it? All that shit for all that setup and build up and anticipation for nothing? Are you fucking kidding me? No payoff. Um, I have no love or respect for Mousetrap as a game. It just pisses me off. False marketing, false advertising. Mousetrap is garbage. Another one that I saw the commercial and I wanted desperately, so bad, I wanted it more than most other games, was Crossfire. Because I erroneously thought that it was going to feature, I don't know, futuristic sci fi stuff. I didn't know it was just shooting marbles at a piece of plastic because they don't really show you that in the commercial. Unfortunately, like a lot of kids my age from my youth, I didn't get Crossfire because it was either too expensive or it wasn't a game that we could all four of us kids could play at the same time. So because it was a two-player game, it was like no, because my parents always had to buy four-player and up games for the most part. So I never got to experience Crossfire. Another one is Operation. Now, Operation is a little plastic cardboard box cut out to with some metal ends. It's got some electronic components, and you got a little metal tweezers, and you put the little plastic pieces in. Takes a little time to set up, but not too much time. Unfortunately, the downside to operation is because it runs on electricity, it does require batteries. And like I've said in previous videos, batteries are fucking expensive. We never had batteries, extra batteries. We had a, a, a what we called the junk drawer, where we kept usually a pack of batteries, but those were spare batteries for the remote control because you had to have batteries in the remote to operate the VCR and the television. So those batteries were off limits. We couldn't use them in our toys. And usually on Christmas Day, my parents would get us the necessary batteries for the toy. But once those batteries died, we were SOL. We never got replacement batteries. So a game like Operation was fun for a week. The batteries died and we couldn't play it anymore. Another one, which false marketing, used cartoon hippos in the animation, in the advertisement for the commercial, to trick kids into thinking it was going to be more fun than it was Hungry Hungry Hippo. Again, you got 4 pieces of plastic and you got a tray full of marbles. The premise of the game is to slap the little lever. The plastic thing does this and grabs the marbles, and the goal is to eat the most marbles. Something like that. But I think the hippos are different colors and the marbles are different colors, and you're supposed to eat your hippo's colors and put the other colors back. So I think, if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, the goal is to eat all of your marbles before everybody else eats all of their marbles. I think is the goal. Um, Again, this was another one of those games because it featured marbles. You're talking children. Marbles get lost or eaten. In my case, yes, I ate marbles. Leave me alone. They look like jawbreakers. What are you gonna do? You give me something that looks like candy. It's going in the mouth. Um, I wasn't the only kid eating their Hungry Hungry Hippo marbles. The game's called Hungry Hungry Hippo. The whole premise is that they're eating gumballs. They look like gumballs. Hey, why not? Oops. Anyways, let's just say Hungry Hungry Hippo has a shelf life of 24 hours exactly. And then the marbles get lost, and then it's just a piece of plastic you stick in the closet and forget about for the rest of your days. So I'm rating Hungry Hungry Hippo as a fuck off piece of shit. Don't waste your money or time on this piece of shit. You also have Connect 4. Now, Connect 4 is basically tic tac toe with checkers pieces. That's all it is. Um, you set up the little checkerboard, is what I'm going to call it, the little yellow plastic checkerboard, and you drop your piece, and then your opponent drops their piece. They're different colors. I believe they're red and blue, but they could be red and black. I don't remember, so don't quote me on this. And um, because it's pieces are easy to lose, and you're talking children, Connect 4 has a limited shelf life. Pieces get lost. It's good for a day. Pieces get lost, and then it goes in the closet, and you never play it again. We were bad about losing pieces to board games, especially the plastic pieces that came with these, some assembly required board games. Another one was called Don't Wake Daddy. Now, this was one that had a fantastic commercial, by the way. Loved it. I saw it and I was like, oh, that game, I want it. Never got to play it. My parents never bought it. I have no idea if it lives up to the hype or not. So I'm going to rate that one as, that's a white whale. Never had it, but yeah, I'd like to get it someday. But I don't know if my bank account can afford it. Another one you had, um, less complicated than some of these other ones that I've talked about, but still requires some assembly, but more convoluted than necessary, is Tiddlywinks. Um, I don't understand how Tiddlywinks works. I never figured it out, so I can't really describe it very accurately because I never could understand it. I hated it whenever my sisters or cousins wanted to play Tiddlywinks. I would protest, please, for the love of God, can we play literally anything else? And they would insist we're playing Tiddlywinks. And because I didn't want to be left out, I played the goddamn game, not knowing what I was doing or if I was winning or losing. getting frustrated, usually throwing the cup of whatever it was, the plastic cup, and storming off in a huff because I was like, I don't fucking understand this game. Fuck you guys. I hate this game. So I'm rating Tiddlywinks as a um, cause for high blood pressure. Stay away from Tiddlywinks. Um, Another one of these games, two-player only, plastic board, plastic pieces, plastic pegs, easy to lose, but fortunately they don't really look like candy, although the pegs do kind of look like Mike and Ike's. The game is called Battleship, and you set your board up, you put your ships on the board, the ocean, and you just call random spaces on a grid, hoping you get a hit or a miss. If you get a miss, then you have to do some deductive reasoning to try to figure out where they are. If you get a hit, then you just, follow the dots until you sink their ship. Pretty standard game. Pretty fun game. I loved Battleship. I'm rating Battleship as a good one. Lived up to the hype. Never played electronic Battleship, have no interest in it. Unnecessary. I'll just stick to the plastic one. And my Battleship was the late 80s blue and red. Blue and red um, Battleship pieces. I didn't like the one when they changed it to both players had black. I didn't like that. I want the blue and blue and red. I want the classic Battleship. Um, Another one, single player. I've done a video on this separately. Talked about it previously. Was used in my physical therapy. Light Bright. Light Bright's less of a board game, more of a toy, but it's still fun. So I'm gonna give it an honorable mention. So Light Bright, thumbs up. Love it. I have a Light Bright somewhere, but I don't know where it is. I haven't been able to locate it. But honestly, I haven't gone looking for it. So it's possible it got left behind in Texas. I don't know. If it did, I'll get another one. They're easy to get. Another one of these pieces board games is Don't Break the Ice or Break the Ice. I don't remember what it's officially called. So the way it works is you got a plastic tray with these plastic ice cubes all stuck together. You get a plastic hammer, and it's kind of like the reverse of Jenga a little bit. The goal is to take your hammer. You got a little guy on the ice, a little plastic dude. You knock out a piece of ice, and basically you lose the game if you're the person that all the ice falls and you kill the dude. He drowns in the river. So it's one of those you have one loser and two or three winners depending on how many people are playing. I assume it's supposed to be a two-player game. I would imagine, but you can share mallets and make it as many players as you want. Um, Break the ice or don't break the ice, and I don't remember what it's officially called. We called it Don't Break the Ice, but I don't know if that's what it was called. Um, it's a fun game. Again, the pieces are going to get lost, but this one was fun enough compared to some of the others. We did a better job keeping track of the pieces. So they're big pieces. They're harder to lose. They're chunks of ice. Now the little man is easy to lose, but the game can be played without the little man. You can just use your imagination and say he's there, or he's Casper, whatever. You're good to go. Another one, which was kind of fancy and hella fun, Ants in the Pants. Now, Ants in the Pants is also an electronic toy, so, buyer beware. It comes with these little tiny ants, and you got these little clippy thingies, and the pants vibrate. And what you're supposed to do is clip the little ant and toss it in and hope you get it in the pants. Kind of like going back to Tiddlywinks, one of the mini games in Tiddlywinks, but also similar to basketball in a way. So Ants in the Pants is kind of fun, but again, you're gonna lose the fucking ants after the first day or two. So this is a Christmas Day gift, not a New by New Year's. It's already in the closet. You've already lost all the pieces. So fun for a day, and then you move on because the ants are gonna get lost. I don't remember if there's different color ants or not. I seem to recall there is, but I don't remember. I haven't played it since I was like 8 years old, so cut me some slack. Um, Trying to remember if there's any other fancy board games that I want to talk about that I remember from my childhood. Um, there's Trouble, but Trouble is basically the toddler version of Aggravation. Um, I don't like Trouble. I'd rather just play Aggravation. I don't like Trouble. It's not a fun game. So I'm not going to talk about it. I did not like Trouble. There was also Guess Who. So Guess Who, it's similar to similar in a way to Battleship. You have a similar style board. You know, you got the V-shaped board. You know, facing against your opponent's V-shaped board, and you have different pieces on the board, and you have a face at the front who's your character, and your opponent has a face at the front that's their character, and you basically have to ask questions. Does your character have glasses? And then if they say yes, you knock out everyone who doesn't, or if they say no, you knock out everyone who does, etc. Things like that. You know, what do they have red hair? Do they have a mustache? Whatever. You just ask questions until you knock down everybody and you get it to the one and you say, "Is your person George?" And they're like, "Yes, it is." You win the game. Or nope, and then you just keep going until somebody wins. Um, this one, the pieces are attached to the board, so they're little cardboard cutouts that go inside little plastic slots. So they're harder to lose. They are harder to lose. So this game has a longer shelf life, a longer play life than some of these other board games. Doesn't require dice, which is good. Um, and basically, it's a lot of fun uh, for like a playthrough. And then you're like, all right, that was fun, but I want to do something else. Again, deceitful because the commercial had talking faces, and yes, they put on the box faces don't really talk because they use that in the commercial, and kids are dumb. And yes, I was the dumb kid who was like, wait a minute, the faces don't talk, and I was pissed, but I still played the game anyways. Now, me and my sisters made the faces talk. You know, we did the voices, like, "Her, I'm George," or "Haha, I'm Susan." Whatever, we did the voices ourselves because we had fun. We were kids. You have fun with it. So I also put a bonus point for Guess Who because of the role play element. If you got the imagination to go the extra mile, I highly recommend Guess Who more than some of these other games. Um, that's all the ones I can think of from my childhood. Either I had played or knew about. Um, there aren't any others that I remember not owning that I wanted. Crossfire was like the holy grail. I really wanted it. And Don't Wake Daddy was like the white whale. It was like never saw it in stores, but I always thought it would be fun to play. So the question I'm going to ask you is which of these games did you play? How similar to my experiences were yours? And which of these types of games did I forget that you want to talk about in the comments? And let me know which ones you had and how long did they last in your family household. Stay cool.